Have you thought about people becoming boring when they grow up to be adults? Like, even as children, we used to think adults are so boring, right? Like, they don't even ask what's your favorite dinosaur is anymore. It's all about making number go up. You like watching shows? You should watch this one so that you learn something important. You like reading? Oh, you should read these types of books because they'll help you. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but even gaming becoming so optimized is part of this problem. Everything needs to have value that you can extract out of it. Otherwise, it's just sort of disregarded as like less important or not worthy enough. Anyway, this video is about The Little Prince. I finished reading it yesterday and it's such a good short story. And it's ironic that I'm talking about The Little Prince while talking about the value of things, because you do get something of value when you read this book. In this story, the narrator talks about his experiences as a child and how so many of possible futures could be blocked off for a child when people surrounding a child influence them to do so. He draws two pictures of a boa constrictor, one from the outside and one from the inside, and he decides to carry those pictures with him as an adult. He shows them to new people he meets, and depending on whatever the other person answers, he chooses to steer the conversation that way. And depending on what they answer, whether it's a hat or a boa constrictor, he decides to choose to have that sort of a conversation with that person. Eventually, our narrator meets a little prince stranded in the desert. The prince tells him about his experiences, his travels, and the people he met on his way to the earth. He talks about these baobabs growing on his tiny little planet, and if he did not remove them, then they'll grow up to become huge problems. Referencing to how if you don't care of a problem at its bud, it's about to be a legitimate danger. The little prince talks about a coquettish rose that grew up on his planet. She's also a bit haughty, but the prince answers to her needs and takes care of her. And she even gets sad when the prince decides to leave the planet to find friends. The prince visits a king to whom all men are subjects, then a conceited man to whom all men are admirers, then a tippler who is drowning and wallowing in his own sadness and shame of being an alcoholic, a businessman who is so busy counting stars that he cannot see their value besides just owning them, a lamplighter, while he does provide noble value to his work, who cannot take rest because the sun sets on his planet every minute. The geographer, who has taken up the task to map out worlds but will not move from his desk for he believes exploring is the task of an explorer. But the part I like the most is about the prince meeting the fox. The prince wants to make friends, but the fox teaches the prince to tame him instead, doing rites in order to forge a connection between them. And the fox becomes sad when he discovers the prince has to leave. But in leaving, the fox departs the prince with his wisdom.
It is the time that you have devoted to her that makes your rose so important.
She's my rose.
It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye.
What is essential is invisible to the eye. Men have forgotten this truth, but you must not forget it. You become responsible forever for what you have tamed. You are responsible for your rose. Everyone values different things in life, and I am not one to tell you what's more important or less important. I just want people to have more intentional thought behind it. If you're open to recommendations, I'll definitely recommend this book. It's a very cute book, only about 100 pages long. And if you've made it this far, please like and subscribe the video. It makes me want to put more effort behind the videos and provide a little more of what I have to offer. Hey, so this was a short one, but I genuinely actually loved this book and I just wanted to yap about it a little bit. If you have any recommendations for me or want to see me talk about a book that you like, please comment that down below. I'd love to make a video on it. Anyway, follow me for more yapping about books and games. See you in the next one.